Okay, so it's a brand new class. So in this lecture, we're going to learn at least a couple of scenarios. One of the scenario would be, let's learn, I would say, some keyboard and mouse activities. So sometimes some of the action we have to perform through, mostly we do the mouse, but some of the action we have to do like the keyboard, like some arrow button on your keyboard, arrow up, arrow down, shift, hold the shift button. Sometimes we have to do that's kind of activities or action from the keyboard, specifically keyboard and the mouse, because we have seen up until now that automation has been done by everything is by your driver, but sometimes your driver need to help some of the activities from your keyboard to to complete your action. So example, say let me go amazon.ca. So some keyboard and mouse activities, when you say example, the clicking we are always doing, which is the keyboard, the mouse activities, right? But other than sometimes you need to, if you want to click, double click, double click also your mouse activities, right click, right? So example over here, you can right click. So right click is also mouse activities. Sometimes you need to, as far keyboard example, maybe if you want to type something over here, say Alexa. So if you want to, what if you need to type whatever in your search box in a capital, in an uppercase, right? So that time if you hold your shift key, then if you just type it Alexa, you can see it's your all the letters are now it's uppercase. So that's the keyboard activities. Your keyboard can help you to convert your letter from a lower to uppercase. So that's one of the example. Sometimes you need to arrow down, use your in your keyboard there is an arrow up, arrow down. Sometimes you need to go. So example over here, even if you say type Alexa and then there is a lots of result up here, instead of using your keyboard, you can your mouse, you can use even your keyboard, the arrow button, like arrow key, the down arrow key. So if you go down arrow, you can see it's going one by one. Then whatever is you say, example, you want to select Alexa smart plug, and then you want to use select it, just considering keyboard. This is an option. It's not like you have to use always keyboard. It's totally up to you, but it's good to know how you can use some keyboard function in your automation code through your automation. So to select this, instead of your mouse, you can use keyboard, which is the hit enter, right? If you enter, it will select that. So those are few keyboard activities. So how our Selenium, in our Selenium code, we can perform some keyboard and specific some mouse activities, how we can do this. So that will be one of our today's class the practice. So let's see, go back to our node. So in our node, you can see here we have a notes here, handling keyboard and mouse event. Okay, so handling special keyboard and mouse event are done by using, there is an advanced user interface API. You don't have to worry about to know in the details that much about it. It is just this is an API which is embedded, comes with Selenium, and where inside this API it has one class is called actions class. So action class, simply just remember, action class is the class that can help you. It has a lots of method, and those methods can help you to do some your keyboard and mouse event. If you want to do some automation, write some automation code in Selenium, your action class is that class that can help you to do different type of even keyboard related to the keyboard and mouse. What type of, so what is the action class have? Here is a couple of examples, some of the methods in action class. Click and hold. So click and hold, there is this method, it comes from action class. inside this this method, you can by the name you can understand this method maybe does what it does. It hold you click on an element and you hold a little bit longer time than you regular click. So if you need to click somewhere, you just click it. But if you want to some reason you need to hold that that element a little bit longer time, that time you can use click and hold method. Then context click perform a right click. So whenever you need to right click anywhere, this is the method it's to use to do the right click action. Double click, it very simple. Double click, it's does the double click job. Drag and drop, and inside this method you have to pass two parameters. So one is source and target. Drag and drop, we can easily understand by the name that any element you can drag and drop somewhere from one element from one place to another place, right? So if we use this method, that time you have to pass your source. It means the location of your source, where that was element. So because first of all your driver have to find that element. So this source, the locator will help you to your driver to help you to find that element. Then the target is the place where you want to place. So that will be do the complete drag and drop performance using this method. So you have to know your source, the locator, location of the source, also your target where you want to move. And then similarly drag and drop by, there is another method. It's similar to like this, but up there you have to use source using x offset and y offset, which is also the locator, but x which is it's similar to x offset. I believe that this in maths we did. There was a if you ever done some graph exercise, there's a x-axis, y-axis. So you have to give the value of the x-axis and y-axis so that it can it can follow your x-axis value and y-axis exactly where is the element is located. So that time I more prefer to use drag and drop. It's much easier than using this this drag and drop. You perform placing some x-axis and y-axis values. Anyways, there is a key dot shift again. So if you want to ever need to use hold your shift key or do something, this is the method. So keys down, when you say okay, I wanna key down any key, so this is the method key dot down, and then inside what key you are want to down, this is over here you are going to pass like keys dot shift, keys dot enter, whatever the key you have to pass over here. So key dot down is the main method, and inside this is the parameter you have to pass or argument you have to pass. Okay, so those are the, you can see key dot up, it's a similar method, just does the opposite job of this key dot down. Move to element it's another method. It's very common method we use. It's similar to like you move your mouse. It's something like a hover. You move your mouse to some element on the top of some element, but you don't click on there. It just hover your mouse to an element. This method is does. Okay, move to element. Then this is the to element. What's the element? You have to pass the elements directory, path directory, where that element. So you pass the to element, the directory, and using this move to element just to hover on element. If you want to need to click on that element, then you have to use the click method on the top. Then, right? So those are the few common methods. There's lots of other methods inside this action class, but those are the mostly common method that mostly we use in our automation. But the more you are going to use or have more experience, you will see that there is other methods you can use also as per your your requirement. Okay, so let's do an example so that we can use we can learn to use some of the actions class method, like some keyboard and mouse activities. So in our practice would be something. So as I said, we'll go our Amazon.ca, and maybe we'll just hover our mouse over one of the element, maybe hello sign over here, okay, or any other. Okay, yeah, that's fine. So here you can just pass, or if you have a prime, so whatever the the let's hello sign inside the, up there, just hover your mouse. We're going to use hover your mouse, not to click, so that we can use move to element method. So we're going to use, because this is a practice for using some action class method. So hover your mouse on the top of here, then again excuse me, come to here, and then type over here, hover your mouse on the box, then click on this box, the search box, then type Alexa, but not in lowercase. Everything have to be uppercase. So that to do the uppercase, you have to hold your shift key. So hold your shift key, then type Alexa, Alexa. So that will be your, so it will help you to do the practice of holding the any key like shift key. Then let's do double click over here. So double click, this will help you to learn how to do the double click, okay, by your key mouse, double click. Okay, so and then let's go back to again use the same element, hover your mouse over here and do the right click, right? So right click, just a right click, we're not going to select anything. So the main objective to learn different activities by using keyboard and mouse, the following actions class. Okay, so our practice would be that will be total our practice. Go to amazon.ca, hover your mouse on over here, and then hover on this box and type Alexa in uppercase, then double click the Alexa, that's whatever the you type. So this one is like, it should be like this if you double click, and then hover your mouse again, the same element, and then use the right clicks. So right click, so all those four activities we can do, all the methods just we explain in our actions class, right? So we can do everything. So double click, to do the double click we can use the double click method. To right click we can use the context click method, and then to hover our element, that we can do using move to element, this method. Okay, this is the alternate, it's not something that you have to do, just for our learning perspective. If you need to click somewhere, you can just use the click method, we know it, but we're learning how to use some keyboard and mice in Selenium. And then so this method will help you to hover your mouse to any element, and then to key down, this is the will help, this method will help you to key. So before you type, we know that to type in a box, any input field, we can use send key. So but before you use send key method, since we said we are going to convert that lowercase to uppercase, so you have to hold the shift key. So you are going to use this method first, key dot down, keys dot shift, and then you dot, then you put the dot, and then you put the send keys, and then you type Alexa. So it will automatically convert your Alexa lowercase to uppercase. I mean, what you do in naturally using to convert your lowercase to uppercase, using the shift key, exactly the same thing we're going to do by the code, right? So those are the few methods from the actions class we can do all this the practice. Okay, are we following, everyone? I hope that, I mean, sometimes you need to talk, otherwise I can I feel like maybe it's the mouse was, I mean, my mic was mute, maybe you guys have some issues. So we're good, right? So can we do this? Okay, let's do it. Okay, close this window. Let's open let's open our so we were doing here, so let's start create a new class. So we'll give a name, let's action practice or actions test. Okay, so I give a name actions. So since it's a practice of using action class, so I just give a name actions test. Okay, and then so I'm not going to type all those things. So it's those are the main common thing. We're going to just, I'm going to copy and paste. So we'll just change the, okay, there's Amazon.c already there, right? So here, let's do, so this will launch your page, right? So let's do the first things. What we'll do, we'll hover your mouse where it's here, right? We're going to, so before, as I said, like we're going to, we're going to hover our mouse on this element. So to hover your mouse, we're going to use the method is called move to element method. So move to element method, it's a part of action class. So if you want to use any method from action class, so action class, again, it's an inbuilt, it's an inbuilt API that comes with your Selenium. So it's already in Selenium API, or the jar we imported. So since some of the method inside that another class we're going to use, we know that if you want to use any method from any class, like it's a public class, that time there's a few ways you can do. One way is like you have to create an object of that class first. In Java we have learned that, right? So before you use any method from the action class, we have to create, it's better we have to create an object of that class. So let's put some comments here using, I would say, action class for, say, mouse and the keyboard, right? Keyboard events. So we're going to use the actions class, sorry, using actions, the class name actions class for mouse and keyboard events. So let's create an object first. Let's create an object first of that action class. So to create an object, we know use the new keyword and the class name is actions, right? And then you put in a variable. Let's put in a variable, whatever the variable you say. For example, you say a, and then your return type is the same class name. Copy it. Okay, now you see this is still, it's an error. It shows it, we know this why. So hover your mouse, you have to import the related package for the actions class, right? Import it, and still there is some error. So hover your mouse again, and it's saying, it's expecting, you can say add argument to match actions keyboard web driver, and then there's another option to keyboard mouse. So it's saying it expecting some sort of argument inside. Okay, so specifically what is the mean, this action class is expect one argument over here who's going to do the job, for this actions class. So in Selenium, who does the job? This driver is this driver, which is the live driver or exe file. He is the guy who does the job. So we have to pass this driver inside here. Okay, now it's gone. So your driver, we're saying, we're specifically allocating, we're saying this driver will do the job following the actions class. Okay, so now the first things we're saying, okay, let's go to here. Let's right click. So we have to spy the element. So let's spy the element. Let's put it hello sign. Okay, that's fine. Hello sign. ID. Okay, it looks like a little bit bigger ID, but let's see if anything. We can use the text too, but let me see this if I can use this guy, and then let's verify it. So since it's ID, okay, so we can use, see, if you want to use CSS selector, you can use this. See, it's found one element and this is the one, so maybe you can use this, okay. Or if you want to use XPath, you can use XPath too, right? We can use relative XPath. Okay, XPath. None of them looks good. It started with the body or HTML. It's not good, so we can use, that's fine. Let's use this. So we're saying we're not using, in this time we're not going to use driver directly, because driver will do the job, but we said like we're going to use the method from actions class. So where those methods are, so that's why we create an object of action class, so that this is the object reference. If you use this your object reference dot, now you can see there's a lots of methods it shows. All those methods are belongs to this actions class. Okay, now it depends on what method you are going to use. So since our first task is hover our mouse to up that sign in that element, so we can use move to element. You can see here move to element. Okay, move to element, and this is the web element target. So we can say we can use this guy. Okay, we can use this guy. So move to element, this method. So a dot move to element, this will help us to move our driver to one specific element, and here is the target. Where is the, yeah, it is the hovering, right? So it will hover our mouse to element. Where that element, who's going to do? That's why we said first we pass the driver will do, and where the element, this is the target. You have to pass the element's path where that element is located. So we are going to type over here driver.findElement, and then we can say by dot, since we saw there was an ID, you can use ID. Let's use ID, and then what's the value of the ID? Let's put this is the value of the ID. You don't have to, so we use just the ID, not the CSS selector. It's up to you, whatever you use, right? So, and after that, so this part, this is the locator or target element, and this is the method will move to hover your mouse. So you hover your mouse where, this is the address. Now, after that, if you want to do anything, do you want to do anything? So our first task, no, we don't want to do anything. Just use the hover our mouse. That's it. So when your task is, your action is done, this part is action is done. Okay, what do you want to do? You hover your mouse where, this is the element. So this part is complete action. One complete action is done, including your locator where that element. When it's done, at the end, when you use action class, just remember that at the end you have to call couple of more method. It's called build.perform. Build method, you can see, put the dot again, you can see there is a build method available. Build dot, there is a perform. After the build, you can see there is a few methods that works with the build, one of the perform method. So what does it mean? You are saying, build, we are saying for this is specifically only, just remember this is specifically this build.perform. This couple method comes together only when you use action class. In an action class, when you use any method, at the end of your full, your action is done, at the end you are going to add this method. Just remember. And what does it mean? You are saying this build method is build this script, and this perform method will execute the script was built. Okay, this is the way you have to just remember and think to learn it. So this is only exception for actions class. For other, we have learned, we have seen, if we need to click, we click, and we don't use build or perform method. But this is build and perform method. They need it when you use any method from the actions class. Okay, clear? Make sense? Excuse me. Element you're passing. So it's like you can say indirectly it's doing a hover mouse job, right? Hovering your mouse to any element but not doing anything, not even clicking. If you want to click, you have to add the click method. So we're not clicking, we're just saying, okay, go to, this is our first, the first our exercise, go on to this up there and just leave it like this. We're not clicking anything, so automatically it will open this, the sub window. And then, so we're just learning, because we're learning, that's like some of the methods, use case of the methods from the actions class. Okay, so this is one part. Our second part, we're going to again use hover our mouse, which is move to element, not clicking. We can do the click, we can click and send key, that we have already learned that part. But since this is specifically our practice for learning the keyboard and mouse activities, so we're using the actions class methods. Again, we'll hover our mouse, which is using move to element method here. And then since move to element method, it just does the hover, so we have to spy the element from the box over here and it will be hover. So hover, it means you are not doing anything, you didn't even click. So if you want to type something in that time, you have to click on here, you hover, then click, then you type something, right? So we want to type Alexa in uppercase. That's our second text. So hover your mouse, click on there, then type Alexa to an uppercase. To do the uppercase, you have to first hold your shift key. So we are going to use keys dot down, that method. And what key? Shift key. So there is a inside the keys dot down method, we are going to pass the key dot down shift key, and then we are going to type over here by using send keys, ALEXA. I'm holding my shift key, that's why now it's showing uppercase. And then we're going to whatever the Alexa was typed, we're going to double click on there. So using double click method. So those will be the some of the practice, the use case, so that we know that's how to use those methods. Okay, so let's do the second text. So second text, to do the second text, we have to spy this search box over here. So let's spy it. So what do you have? You have ID. So let's use the ID again. So our second text would be type Alexa. So let me put an uppercase, type Alexa. Type Alexa. So just in a capital letter in search box, right? And highlight it, and double click or highlight, you can say highlight it. Okay, so that's our text. So let's do again. So we have to hover our mouse to the box, search box input. So we'll say to hover, we're going to use A again. From here, A is up, and then we use again move to element. So let's select the move to element, this method, move to element, this one. So target, where is the target? So target is that you have to pass the the locator for this search input box. So again, driver.findElement, find element by dot, in this case let's create maybe XPath. Okay, let's create XPath. So XPath, would be the XPath? We know double forward slash, we know the ID, so we can say double forward slash, we can use asterisk sign or the tag name, whatever the tag name. So, since I didn't notice what are the tag names, so I can put the asterisk sign, and then at the rate, and what's the ID? ID is the locator, our properties, and then the value of the ID you pass is here, right? So that's, and then since this part will do just hover, right, hover to the input search box in the input box. So you have to type something. Here is the difference. To type something you have to click up there, because it is hovering, so it has not a click is not activating, so you have to click to type something. So you have to click first. Okay, if you want to do, here is a difference. If you want to do regular way without using our move to element method from the action class, we could say this is just show the difference. We'll say this part driver.findElement, right? We could say this part just this is a regular driver.findElement, and then we'll say so as I was saying, let's minimize this. So I was saying, if you don't use just regular, not using a move to element method, see that the difference. So because move to element, it's a hover, that's why I have to click that, use the click method to click on that input box. But if you just use the regular way that we have learned, using driver.findElement up there, and you want to type on that search box, that time you don't have to use the click method, you just use the send keys method, right? Send keys method, and you just type up there whatever you want to type, right? Say Alexa. But why we have to use the click method when you use move to element a method, and why we don't have to use over here? Because here we're not using move to element method, and when you don't use move to element method, just regular, that time you when you locate to any input box, when you use the send keys method, it's automatically click first and type it. But when you use move to element method, it just does the hover job. It doesn't inbuilt in this method, doesn't have the click function. So if you want to type something on that input box, you have to click first, and then you can type something. See the difference? So we're not using, since we're learning that the use case of different method from the actions class. So here we're using, first we're saying we're going to click up there, and then we're going to so you clicked up there, and then it's time to type, right, which is the send keys. But before you type, we said we need to convert whatever we're going to type, we need to convert to uppercase, which is the Alexa, we have to type in uppercase. So if you, one of the way to do it, if you hold your shift key, then whatever you type, you will see it's converting to uppercase. So we have to hold first, then type it. To hold first, underneath this actions class, there is a method to hold any button, any keyboard button, any key on from your keyboard. The method is, if you after the click, why is click and then dot, yeah, and then one of the method, it's to perform any keyboard action. There is a method, it's called key down, key up, whatever you say. So in this case, we're going to key down, use the key down method, so that we can down or hold the shift key. So you can say, if you just type key, you can see there's a key down, right, key down, and there is a key up. Those are the different methods. So in this case, we're going to use key down method. So the key down method, you can see on the right side, this is the method name, and this is the parameter argument you have to pass, and this is your actions class. It's a part of your actions class. So this method is coming from actions class, right? So if you say key down, so select the key down, and now key down, what's the key, what key you want to down? So in that time, we're going to down our shift key, right? Shift key. So to do this, you, after the key, to call any key, specific keys, you have to perform another method is called, so first you have to use keys, I think it's uppercase, yes, keys, and after if you type keys, so keys that's help you to, you know, to give you all other options, all other keys. You can see all different keys over here. And then if you type shift, it should work. Keys dot, you can see shift S H, I have to shift, you can see the shift key over here. Select the shift key. So keys dot shift, we're saying key down, what key? This is the keys dot shift. Okay, so it will hold the or down the shift key. Now you are going to type. So now to type anything in a input box, you know, we have to use send keys method, right? That's what we know already. You can see send keys, right? Send keys, what do you want to type? Just type over here Alexa. So this lowercase will convert it, you know, by this action, right? So you type Alexa. Then after that, what do you want to do? After you type it, we said, where is that? So after you say, we said, you know, after you type it, we said, you know, you highlight this Alexa word. To highlight it means it's a double click. So let's do the double click. So how to do the double click? Dot, you can add more action on that element. So what's you doing? So click, call the double click. You can see double click. You can see double click. You see double click method? Call the double click method. So now that's all you want to do. So when is all of your action is done, we said when all of your action is done, at the end we're going to add, we have to add the build perform method also. So dot, you know, so you can maybe dot build dot perform method. Okay, so that's all. So this it's quite a long line, but this will help you. So again, this is hovering your mouse to where this is in your search box, in input box, and here, and then you click up there so that you can type it. But before you type it, we have a condition that you are going to, you know, type your Alexa word in uppercase. To uppercase, to do this, you know, we can hold our shift down, and then we're typing. So we type the Alexa, it will automatically convert. And then we said we have to highlight the same things, same element, the Alexa. So that's why we use the double click. And after that, you know, as usual, we have to use build perform method, which is the part of your actions rules. Like when you use the actions class, always when your actual action is done, then at the end we have to use the build and perform method, so that this build method will build this code, and this perform method will execute this code. This is only exception. Just remember, this is only exception, adding build and perform at the end of your code when you use actions class. Okay, so that part. So if you want, let's save our code, let's run it up to now. See that? Okay, right click and then run as a Java app. Okay, you can see it's a hover, that's why there was a, and you can see that it typed Alexa and it's highlighted, and also it's in uppercase, right? So it did the job, right? So let's close this. Okay, so what's next? Our next would be right click. So let's see this. I mean, same thing we already did, but it's still, if you want, you can do one more time. We can use the right click on up there. So same thing we can do, you know, here again. Now this time we're going to hover our mouse up there again, and then we're going to use the right click. Right click, it means like this. Okay, so to hover on the same element, we have already the element we already found here, right? This is the locator. So let's let me type what we're doing. So in this time we're going to doing the right click on what was the sign in element, right? And then to do this again, we can use the same this line, like we're going to use the move to element method. This is the one, would be the same, and then dot. So this will hover to the same element, and then what we're going to do, we're going to since we need to right click, so to do the right click, that the method is related, it's called context click. One is missing. CON context click. So context click, hopefully you remember that you can see here. So context click method, it's perform the right click action, right, on him through the mouse. So here that's what we're doing, context click. So this will do the just right click, and then you can use arrow button, and an arrow key on your keyboard, the same way we have learned that to select any one of the options. So we're not doing that because we already see this, how to use the arrow key down or any key down, right? And this time, so this is just, we'll learn how to use the context clicks method to do the right click perform. And then we're going to use the build.action, build.perform. Good. So pretty much, and then if you want, we can do the driver.close or driver.quit or tear down method, driver.close. Okay, let's not close it for now. Save it, run it. Oh, so we're running. So it should hover our mouse up there on the hello sign. You can see, and then it's type Alexa highlighted, and then again come back to the same element and right click. That's why this option comes up. Okay, does everyone make sense? Okay, and then you can use driver.close, then so you don't close your window. Yes, you have to call the key down method. Then it's up to you. You can use your keyboard, you can use your mouse again to click any one of the option. You can spy it, you can click it, or you can use your, now you know how to use the keyboard function. So the last until the last class we were stuck over here, right? It's like on the right click, right? So assume that I think we selected we were this was our the web element for sign in. So let's use this, because when you hover on sign in, it looks like the pop-up window open, and then on the top we did the the right click. So either this one, or to make it have a better understanding, just have, so I switch the element, this one, like the card element, right? So this one, so that we have clear the right click function, the option, there is no other, the pop-up window, so that we have the better idea in our right click exercise. So let's spy this the card. So if I go inspect it, and here is the HTML code that's reflect that card, and if you see, I think we can use maybe we can use class. Oh, sorry, there's an ID, so let's just use the ID. Let me just double check. So ID, since it's an ID hash, so one element match, and it's this is the one. Okay, so that's fine. So let's get back to our Eclipse. So here we did up until what was that? The Alexa was converted to uppercase, then highlighted like the double click. So there's no problem up until this, and here so this is the ID for the card, the new wave element. Okay, let's we put this one in a driver.findElement. Just then by ID I put, so this is the ID, and then puts in a variable. So whatever the variable, you can say card E, whatever. Okay, so I just put this variable in E, and it's, since this is the wave element, its return type, it's wave element. Now we're going to apply right click on this element, on this element E, right? So let me give a it's a card, right? Let's give a name, even the wave element card. Okay, so card, this is the variable we declare, and here this the locator of the variable, and what type of variable, it's a wave element, right? So its return type is wave element. This is no problem. Now on this wave element we're applying right click, right? Something like that, right click. So to do the right click, we know that's for actions class we have a method, it's called context click, which does the right click on a specific element. So we're going to see two different way. So this context click method you can apply two different way. The first, you can hover your mouse like over here using move to element method, right? We saw this yesterday. Move to element method, what it does, move to element method, it's move your mouse, it's just a hover job to a specific element. So we can move to hover our mouse using move to element method, then we can right click. That's one approach. Okay, so let's see. All right, there is another approach, like we can directly apply the right click. We can directly apply to right click on the specific element using a context click. So let's use the first one, like we're going to directly right click on that element, the card element, on this element. So we're going to use this context click method, from where it's a part of actions class, right? And actions class, this is a object reference of actions class, right? So when you type a dot, then it shows like all the related method, including the context click. So we select the context click. So when you directly apply a context click method without a move to element, that time you have to pass the where you wanna apply this method. You have to pass the address or locator of the element. So since we have this locator of the element over here in a variable card, let's put the card inside as a parameter. Or see this what happened. So a context click, and then apply over here, pass the variable. So where this is the locator, so you are going to apply this method, the right click method, and this is the element. So this is one approach. And after that, if you want to do something else, so we were looking yesterday that we can do where is it, so right click, and after that you can select maybe any one of the options from here. Okay, so any one of the option over here. So say either probably the number 3 or number 2 we're going to select. Okay, so to do this we can use some extra method, because this is a method, right? And there is a more method, like a chaining of method. So we know this, we can use arrow key down, like yesterday we tried to use that, the keys dot arrow down this method inside a send keys. So if you say dot send keys, and then the bracket of send keys, you have to pass the what key you want to apply as a argument. So keys dot arrow down, right? So this will apply one time. It depends on which option you want to select. Assume that you want to select the third option from the the right click, it shows over there. So if you want to say do 3 times, this is the same thing. You can copy 1, 2, and then 3, and after that what do you want? So right click and then 1, 2, 3, and then if you want to apply this option, this like open link, so you have to click on there, the click. So since we're using a keyboard function, we can use keyboard another hit enter. If you use the enter keyboard, right, so enter key from your keyboard, hit enter, it will open the another window, right, with a whatever the site, right? So we can do the same thing here. So after three option, this is the first option, this is the second, and then third, then apply the keys dot hit enter. Enter is the key, the key from your keyboard. This will work as like a click, right? And then at the end you do build perform. Okay, so this will work. One like yesterday we were stuck that can you use like this function, like send keys dot arrow down, instead of writing this chaining in the multiple times, can you use the for loop? In this case we can't, it doesn't work. There is a reason. First of all, let's run this one, and then I will explain why it doesn't work. Let's run this up to this. Okay, let me put this one in a comment. Save it, run it. So hover up there and then should write Alexa, and then it was so quick, but you saw this, there's a new window open. So where this new window comes, it comes from the right click function we had, right? 1, 2, 3, this one, it's open a new window. So it works. Let's close this one, and there's no error, error over here too. So now this works. Okay, then why this guy doesn't work? If I put the same command in a for loop, why it doesn't work? Okay, let's see that why it doesn't work. Let me uncomment this one. Okay, okay, before we see this why it doesn't work, let me show you the other way, using the move element method, and then right click context. It's the same, it's a right click context, it's used two different way. One you can use with the move element method, and another one you can use directly right click context. And when you use directly right click context, that time you have to pass the locator or path of your object, of your the web element. And when you are using move to element, that time you don't have to, because when you use move to element and move to element method, you have to pass the address of your locator, address of your element. So this is the way to do this. Let me uncheck this, and then we are going to run. We'll see this what kind of error comes if we use the send keys, this command inside a for loop. Okay, so we're using now, this is the second way. This was the first way. Okay, this is the first option. You can say first option to use context click method. click method, and this is the second option to use, second way to use context click method. Second option, right? So in second option you can use with a move to element method. So we're saying move to element method, so you will hover your mouse to a, when you hover your mouse, you know, we know that you have to pass, this is the very you know, the same way we used before even move to element method. As soon as you say move to element method, you're using object reference a of your actions class, then use the move to element, and then you have to pass the address, the location of the element, the same way we did a dot move to element. What is the address? Address is this one, this is the address, so we put this one in a variable. So let's pass the variable here again, and then you, after that, so you move up there and then right click, so which is a context click. This time there is no argument necessary. Okay, there's no argument necessary up here. So then you can say, you know, what do you want to do? You wanna arrow down 3 times, so you can write send keys, and inside a send keys you can pass your keyboard function, which is a keys dot anything, arrow down, up, you know, enter, whatever you say. So we can pass this 3 times, 3 times same things, right? And then we did a enter after the when we're third, you know, the third option, we did the enter and then build perform. Okay, so this should work. Now a that move to context click. Okay, so this, let's put in a comment, right? So now if you want, we can put this first option in a comment so that we can see the second option, if we're using a move to element, it doesn't work or not. Save it and then run it. You see, so it's open another window also, so it works, right? So third option was to open this one, open link in this is a incognito window, so it's open another window, right? So let's close this one too. So both, it's up to you, you know, how you are going to use context clicks method, whether with the move to element or directly use, you know, just use over here a context clicks method. So, and now let's see this why it didn't work this way. We tried yesterday this one in our for loop. So if you want to use a for loop, so what will happen? So if I use just a move to element, second method, right? So assume that we're going to follow the second method, so which is a dot move to element, and then we pass the locator of the object, which is card dot context click, right? And then we're saying we're going to pass this guy in a for loop. So if you just you know, ignore this part, so you have to do the build.perform, right? So this is the build.perform. Let's put this, the other code, so this one in comment, so that we can see the how the other code is work. So here, so we're saying for loop, let's uncomment this. We're saying for loop, and then it's starting with the 0, I less than 3, so it will run 3 times, I plus plus. So we're saying, you know, what's our, so this is our object, right? This is our object dot send keys, and then you pass the, you know, keys dot arrow down, right? And then again, and finally, so it will run 3 times, it will do the same thing, it's supposed to do the same thing, and then finally to select that option we have to use the keys dot enter, which is the keys dot enter over here. Let's say card, pass over here, right? So that's supposed to work. We were trying, that was the, you know, the place where we're stuck. So why it didn't work? The same logic we try to use with a for loop. So let's run it and see. Okay, hover there, write Alexa, double click, and right click happen, but there's nothing happen. Like it's supposed to select this third option, open a new window. That didn't work. So let's see, go back to our Eclipse. Here, let's see what is showing here. The error. So it's saying, if you see over here, it's saying element not interactable. Element is not interactable. So it means element is not, they didn't say element not found. They said element not interactable. It means it's not, it's an intangible element. It's not, the driver cannot touch it. A driver can understand there is an element up there, like card, this element. But in this element, after you right click this right click function, so that the new element, the drop up option is inbuilt based on this address. That new drop up, or drop up option, the drop down options is interactable. It's not tractable. It's not, driver cannot touch it, because that's inbuilt. I mean, that's a drop down option. Is not possible to do any other action on that, because there is a reason why. Because there is a two reason as far I have found. One is we complete the build perform function over here. So when you complete the build perform action over here, so that the chaining command of this context or right click or from the actions class, it's closed already. It's over here, because this is the last two command that we use when you use any method related from the actions class. So if you saw this, like in our previous other example, when you use the send keys with this context click, we added all the chaining function, and at the end we said build perform. So as I explained yesterday, that build will hold this script, and you perform, this method will execute the whole this together. But here it makes a break your the command. So this is a one individual command, and when you try to apply this command on this, so it's already executed, and so the chaining doesn't work together. That's number one. And number two, there's another reason, say why it's saying interactable, because if you go again and if you try right click and see this, is there a way you can select, you can spy those elements? This is like on the top of your HTML outcome, or like the browser it shows. This is not part of your HTML code. This is like on the top of this, it's a separate function. So it doesn't, so if you try to, let's try to there's no way you can spy this element. So that's another reason. That's why it's saying, it didn't say it didn't found, it said it's not, it's interactable. It's not it's because it's found, but it's not possible to track it. It's not possible to select any command, any option from there. So that's why it's better to perform. So if it's possible, because when you break the chain, what happened, like we are breaking the chain over here, the command is breaking over here. This is a complete one command, and this is a new command. So when you break your command, so what happens, so you hover, you right click, this is a one complete command, and then when you say using the for loop, you go third or whatever the option you go, so that is a new command. So when you apply a new command, you have to say your element, that we said our element is a card, like the variable, but it find the element, but it's not able to create another new session to do some further action on this drop down option. Make sense? That's why it's giving you, it was a little bit tricky, it's giving you like this kind of error, like it's not interactable.
Shri, I'm just wondering, like, what will happen if we put the build.perform the
At the end of send is not going to work. Let's try. You see, build, you'll see even it doesn't show the option. If you just dot, usually it's supposed to show you the option if there is any other chaining command it works. You'll see the build dot, even we say build dot, even we type it perform, it is not even acceptable. The chaining, it doesn't work with this send keys. The reason why, build.perform method, it's completely only, it's exceptional, it's only used with your the method with your action class. So here the send keys we're using, send keys is not part of action class method. We use the send keys two different places. One is to input, to type something. We have seen when we did that, remember that, so we did input the password, writing password, username, our login test, we use send keys. Send keys method use two different way. One is used to type something in an input field, so you type send keys and then you pass whatever you want to type. And another way send keys is used to use some keyboard, it's a key to do some keyboard function, so which is key dot whatever the function it shows. So send keys is not the part of our actions class, so that's why build.perform doesn't work with the send keys. Clear? Make sense?
Yeah, like, and one more thing, Sharif, what is it called? Can you break the for loop, the very first line before the for loop, dot move to element card dot context click, and then can we bring down the dot build dot perform
Up here,
the sentence? Yeah,
that's
can
not
you
going.
break it there?
Yeah, okay, let's try it, but it will not work.
No, remove the semicolon after the context click.
Oh, then it's not gonna even give you it will give you another error,
Really?
because this is your one line. It's a Java, right? We're following Java. If it's a
Yeah,
JavaScript, it wouldn't a problem.
in Java it is not. Is it not possible to break into
No,
multiple lines?
no, that's
Oh,
that's the problem in Java. So Java is, that's why Java is a very sensitive language. It's like case sensitive, and also even a semicolon. If you miss end of your one statement, you have to put the semicolon. If it's a JavaScript or Python, should be probably would work, because the JavaScript, Python doesn't need to be like your semicolon. It's optional. Okay, so that this is not going to work. So let's see. I'm going to show you one more example. Um,
okay, okay.
okay, let's see one more example I found. So what if we can let's see, what if we can find any element, that element is it's interactable. Like this element was, this after the right click was not interactable, it means you are not able to spy that element. But what if you can spy the element, like your right click? So in that time, what happened? Let's see. This is one of the URL I found. I believe here. You can see my screen still, right? Everyone?
Yeah.
Okay. So here you see there's a one button. So if you do a right click here, you can see after you do a right click, there is a few drop down option open. Let's see that if you can spy this element or not. So let me spy it. First I'm going to spy this button. This is the one. So this is the HTML code related to that button, right? So let me do a right click, and now let's see that if I can do the spy. Okay, so this is the, you can see this is the HTML code. This line, this is the line that, right, yeah, this is the line is the related, that's you are able to spy all those, that's you know, the drop down option together, right? If you see, if I want to just, you know, is there anything else? No. If I want to just highlight this one, maybe, what is this? It's a class, right? So class, so one element, you can see it's found one element, and this is the HTML code, and also it's select this whole this area. So this is a tangible, right? So you can spy your right click option. So if you can spy the right click option, then it is just regular element, like you spy a regular element and you do whatever you want to do. You want to click, whether you can use your mouse click, or you can use your keyboard function, you know, drop down and click it. You can do whatever you want. So example, I'm going to here 1 2 3, so let's see, we're going to select copy. So 1 2 3, we're going to select the copy. So this is the line related to the copy, you can see, right? This is the line related to the copy. So here, if I want to just you know, select spy that element, if I want to spy this element, so here is a class, it's the same class, and then item, okay, and then use the, so maybe we can use text, we can use a text method to find out. Okay, let me explain you. So what, see over here, this is here ul, this line is the parent, so because it has a sharp arrow down, and you can see in underneath this arrow there's a right, it's a, the arrow is towards to right, the right, there's a 1 2 3, how many, 1 2 3 4 5, so it should have a 5 sibling or 5 child, 1 2 3 4 5, and this is the first one, is I think probably, oh, there is a more, this is the one 6. So all this six are li is the child of ul. Okay, you can see even when you hover your mouse to ul, you know, the code, the line, it's reflect the whole right click drop down option, all the 6 option. And then if you go the first one, this is the first one, and then if you go, sorry, this is the that part, so, and then go top, this is the, you can say first one, and then this is the second one, third one. So this is the way, so you can easily spy any one of them. So if you want to you know, create a locator, say for third one, you can see this, all of them have the same tag, which is li, all of them have the same class name, which is context menu item blah blah blah, pretty much same. So it is a long, you can't use this long class name because there is a, you know, there is a space between the text. If you have a space between the text, your class name, if you use the driver.findElement by class or class name, is not going to work because, you know, there is a space between, so, and it's too long. So that's not ideal to use when you have a, you know, the class value is, it is a long, you know, the context. That time we can use partial. So, you know, partial, and then that time we can use CSS selector. But still, if you use even CSS selector, this part is a partial, which is a context menu item, is a common to everyone. So it's not going to be able to, you know, it's not going to be able to find one specific. So how you are going to find the copy specific one element out of, you know, the similar type of the property, using the similar type of property, same, so same, you know, the tag name. That time we can traverse from here, from your parents to any specific child, because all the child are same. So child number is 0 1 2 3. Assume that we want to select the third one. So your parents, we can use, since it's a class, we can use either you can use XPath, or you can use CSS selector. So let's see that some option that how you can traverse from your parent to child. It is a part of our the locator. So remember that, so we had 8 different locator, and this is the second part, in advanced part, if you need to traverse parent to child. Even though this topic is not our, this is not our part of the right click, but just I'm showing also this part to how to identify when you have to traverse from parent to child. So few different way you can do. So here is the first one. If you use CSS selector, traverse parent to child using CSS selector. So the first your CSS selector would be class. If you use a class, that time the parent class. So your parent is this one. You can make a use this class. So this is the value of your class, the first, this part. You can say CSS selector driver.findElement, something like that. Driver.findElement CSS selector. So what is the CSS selector for your parent, using this value. And then so as I was saying, where is the notepad? So you can use CSS selector. So your syntax would be, when you traverse from parents to child using CSS selector. So this is the syntax, the CSS selector, full CSS selector for your parents, and then which is a common class, because it's it's a common for all the childs. So CSS selector for parents, then you will have a space. When you use CSS selector, you have to put a space, then you put the child's tag name. If your child all the child have the same tag name, say like over here li, it's all of them have same tag name. So you'll put that tag name, child tag name, colon, then nth children. You are going to say, you are going to pass the position of the which child you are going to want to select. So you will say child's tag name, which is the li, then this is your syntax, dot nth child. You have to put this word, and then inside a bracket you are going to pass the position of your child, following 0, 1, 2, like this. So example here, CSS selector. So this is the CSS selector for the parents, and then there is a space. Then you say, assume that this is your the common tag name for all your childs, like div dot colon nth dash child, and this is the position of the child you want to select. So this is one way. There's another way. You can use what called XPath. So you can use XPath. That time if you use XPath, you can identify element. Here you can use XPath. Example, you are going to use XPath, relative XPath. So traverse, not this one. So if you use XPath would be the similar concept over here, the same way. That time you will put the driver.findElement by XPath instead of CSS selector, and then you pass the full XPath for your parent, right? So same way, you'll let me type. This is a following XPath. So you will have to type over here XPath. So assume that, so this is your XPath. Your XPath would be started with // right? Assume that this is the XPath for your parents, and then there will be no space for XPath. There will be no space. Instead of XPath no space, there will be // because XPath is started with // as far we know, right? That is our the actual syntax was. So when you create a XPath, it started with // When you create a CSS selector, there will be no // You can either put your tag name, or you can even keep it empty. It's up to you. So that's why when you use the XPath, so // this is the actual the XPath for your parents, then // the common tag name from the child, then nth child, and then the position of the child. So this is the following XPath if you use the XPath to traverse from your parent to child. Now if you child, the similar concept, you have a parent and then you have a child, and child have the same tag name, but child have also some text, like over here, like all of the child, they have a text. If you see all of our child have it, like for this one is copy. If you go down, open that, this is paste, you see the next one, and so eventually all of them have a text. If you have a text, that time you can use here, you can use very simple. So other than traveling from following this condition, like using passing the child position number, instead of this you can follow this. You can have the you can have the what call it, it's like, oh hold on, you can have that or is that XPath, yes. So we're going to, that time you are going to follow the XPath. So if you use the follow the XPath, that time there is a method, it's called text method. There's a text method. This text method, it can grab or extract the text from your HTML or from your child, from any one of the the link, any one of the HTML link you have or code you have. From there it can extract the the text, if there is a text on over here. So you can avoid using this type of traverse from parents to child. This text method only works when if you have a text in your related content, on your related content with a in HTML code have a text. That time you can use text method and following XPath the syntax. So here if I want,
that means like as you can see from the context menu, like the text, edit, cut, copy, this
yep,
kind of things.
yeah, yeah. So over here, that's why I showed you this each and every line. So, here, I mean, either we have to follow the traverse from parent to child following XPath, CSS selector, or if you have a text, this, then it makes very easy that you don't have to. Sometimes the traverse is not easy. Sometimes traverse you have to even traverse from grandparent to parent, then child. So if you have a text, that time it's very simple or easy that you can create a XPath following using just text method. What's the syntax? So similarly, since it is follow the XPath, so which is a // you can either use your asterisk, or you can use your the tag which is li. It's up to you. But if you have a similar child with this, all the childs have the same tag name, that time it's better to use because asterisk, it means it will accept any one of them. It will check first your text, and whatever the text will match with the child, and it will consider that the element is the right element. But if you use over here li, it will match with the li's, then it will find, okay, lots of li. So sometimes it's better, it's better if you have this the common tag name, then it's better to use asterisk. And then you inside the bracket you will use a text method, text, and then colon whatever the text. So what text, say over here paste, but you have to make sure you have to exactly type over here the value. If you mix like uppercase the lowercase, it will not work. So it's better to copy that and paste it up there. Okay, so assume that we're going to do select this number 3. Since we're not able to this is a tangible, it's able to spy, so we can easily do it if we do the follow, if we follow this the text format, the text method. So it's very simple, // asterisk text equals to copy. So I copied already from here. So whatever you want, you just highlight this, either paste, copy, it's up to you. Okay, so that time you just update over here. Instead of copy, it said paste. Oh, sorry. So just make sure you copied, exactly you copied and pasted up there. So assume that we're going to do the copy one. So this is our X path for to select the copy one. Clear? So let's go back to our Eclipse. See here, we are now here. So since this didn't work, is that a one? Yeah, this didn't work, right? This part didn't work. Let's put in a comment. So we're now this example. This is the URL. This is the URL, and then we created object of the action class, right? And then we pass the this is the locator. This is the locator for the right click the element, right? For the element, so where we're going to right click, and then we're using action dot. So this is our over here we created our object reference, which is action. So we are using action. Whatever the object reference is up to you. Like we use over here a. So now I just created I said action. So don't get confused. Or just to make it easy, let's make it B. Okay, so B is the object reference. Okay, and then let's change it over here. So we are going to say B dot move to element. If you use the move to element, and then what's we have to where we're move to element, the location. This is the location. Then context click method. This time we're not, since we're using move to element, we don't have to pass the argument for the location. Build.perform. So you see the build.perform is done over here. Since we are able to spy those the drop down options, all those. So this is a new element, right? This is a new element. Since we're able to spy it, it's a tangible. So we can use the simple our as usual locator to locate that element and apply any action like click, send keys, whatever it is. It should work. So we're using now over here, you can see click. So this is the copy one, the copy options, right? So I just separately individually I define that, the locate that element, and then apply the click method. It should click, right? So you see this, the difference. Like if is a tangible, if you can if the element it's possible to locate like this, then you can apply any function. But if it's not able to locate it, but it means it's not tangible, then it's difficult to apply any other method on the top other than you just on flow the same method in the same line you build and perform the same build perform. You apply whatever you want to do. But if you want to do separately, you can't. That will not work. Okay, so let's try this one. So let me key down. Let's maybe let's keep this one, the first one. So let's open this one to uncomment so that we can see both. This is the comment. Okay, we're going to use for our Amazon.ca, we're going to use first option, and for the other jQuery, we're going to use second option, which is move to element. Then we use the context clicks, and here it's possible to use separate action since we're able to find that element separately. Save it and run it. Okay, it's open the Amazon.ca. Now it's open another window because, so let's close this one. So you can see it did the also the second, so the jQuery side also, it select its copy, and then when you click on the copy, it's open in another pop-up window. So it does, so it works. Okay, so it's a both way. This is the way if you can able to, and there is no error over here, if you're able to spy the right click options separately, then you can do whatever the regular the spy and any action you can apply. But if you're not able to, that time if you want to do further action on the right click drop down option, you have to do on the same the chaining command like we're using following from the actions class. So you have to do it same all together, then build perform. Otherwise, if you want to do it separately, if you want to do it separately like this, or if you want to do it separately like this, for loop is not going to work. Okay, makes sense now? Clear?
Yeah, the same case, it looks like it works only when we finally enter one send keys dot enter. That time it works, looks like. It's safe.
Yeah, I mean SendKits, it's like a separate, it's a totally separate action. So it will only work if you are not depend on build.perform. If your command is on flow and depend on build.perform, it will not work if you break the command, if you break the chain. I would say that if you break the chain.
Oh, that's all right. To put it in a single chain, and then that command looks like can I remember yesterday we tried without putting the send keys arrow down
Yeah.
without the enter keys, right?
Yeah.
That time it didn't work.
Yeah.
Okay, that's what's okay.
Okay, so I think this is in this two example, it's make it very clear the difference and the use case, all different ways that you can use context click. I mean, I didn't know all that much in details until we figured it yesterday. Then when I find I did a little bit of research and I found wow, that's a little bit interesting, because it's very rare you are going to use this command in real life, but it's something but it's good to know. Yeah. Okay, but there's a lot of times you are going to use keyboard event. That's true, but probably not the right click one. But it's good to know. It's I think this is full. It's, if you now furthermore research you do, you will not see this anybody explain both together and the root cause why it doesn't work separately in a for loop. So that's why I put both together, or both of the example, and then make it very clear. It's a good good to know it.
Yeah, it was really excellent to know like the for loop things and
Yeah.
why it is not working there.
Okay, so pretty much that's all about the the context click or right click, and that's all pretty much. For now, it's good enough to know. If you know this now, it's like this. If you want, if there is anywhere you need to use other the keyboard function, right? I'll go up, arrow up, arrow down, arrow right. You can do it the similar way. It's the same fashion. And that's more than enough for doing most of the time, so whatever you need in automation. One more thing is remaining, which is a drag and drop. Like you have an element, you drag that, you hold that element and drop it another different location. We're going to learn that part is still remaining. We'll see soon. Okay, so is there anyone have any question on this example? Any more doubt? If you want the code, I can give you the code at the end of the class. Okay, so just let me know, but please do the practice.
Sorry, are we getting this class, the live class?
Yeah, I will upload the class today, probably tonight. Okay, so yesterday class and today's class, I will combine both together and then I will upload. Okay, so that's all about it. Next, we needed to know how the arrow keyboard function works works. So because now we're going to learn something new. So what's the new would be, let's see. So here is another very common scenario. It's a drop down option. So this is very common. Every website, every application, there will be some the drop down options. It could be from your top menu, it could be something like drop down, or even nowadays you will see more frequently you have a your input box. Then if you type something, it's give you the result like a Google search. It's give you the result based on your type. So it's create your result on fly. You send the request. So the first one is called static drop down. So static drop down, it means you have something like drop down, and if you click on the arrow, the answer, the options are already predefined, it already pre-selected. So over here it has 3 options: Selenium, APM, API. So you have to select one of them from there, which is called static. That's why it's called static. But the other one, the searching one, it's called dynamic drop down. It is a fashion of drop down. The output shows as a drop down fashion, but the result, what would be the result? It really depends on your request, and the result created on fly when you execute it. So example, if I say CA, it shows number of results, lots of countries list. But if you say BA, it shows not the same number of results. It's a different result. So your result or output or drop down option, it depends on what you type inside the drop down box or searching box, right? So that's called dynamic drop down. So if you come across this kind of scenario, how you are going to do the automate, how you are going to handle it, how you are going to confirm. Say for example, for the static, I want to select say Selenium or APM, whatever it is. How you are going to confirm that okay, you are able to select one of the option from a static drop down. And similarly, how you are going to confirm that you are able to type CA, and from there assume that we want to select Canada. How we are going to select the Canada, and then you have to confirm that it was selected Canada. How we are going to do this? So we're going to learn this part in this so this is a new the part of our you can say it's a new lecture. Let's see, the first talk about the static drop down. Give me a sec. So static drop down, it's kind of easy. So in a drop down, one thing you notice that for the both it's the same. So if you say want to select Selenium, so our as usual behavior, like if you want to do some action on a specific element, what do? We try to spy that element, find the locator, and then we add the action. We add some action on that locator, like click, double click, whatever it is, and then it does the job. So the first things to do some action on a web element, you have to spy that element, right? So let's see that if I want to say example, you don't know how to work with a drop down. So you are going to trying to apply your as usual approach, which is spy the element and then do some action. So if I want to spy the element, say we need to select the Selenium. So let's see, I want to click on right click. So that's why we're going to spy, right? Right click, you see, I mean I did, you can understand, you can see it, like as soon as I right click, you can try at your home when you're going to do the practice. As soon as I right click, it's minimize. It doesn't show any option. It doesn't show any option. It minimize. It disappear. It's disappear the options. Right? So there is no way you can right click and spy any individual element from this drop down. Even though you go there, okay, there is a, since those are, you can see this is the place, this is the this is the drop down, the actual locator, this box, this is the actual locator, this box, okay, this is this HTML code, okay, that it can select. And the problem is that whenever you want to select any option, you select it, it's just replace the same box. If you select the API, it goes to there, right? So it's pretty much it's impossible to spy any one individual element like this. It will never be. You can find the option over here. So if you're here, you know, you can find the related HTML code over here, but it will never be like this way. It will not, you know, you can't spy this way, because it's not, it's, you know, this is the nature of the drop down. That's the way they build it. So what's the solution then if you want to select any one of the options? The solution is that the Selenium, they teach us like, so okay, so you are going to select, you know, you are going to, so you have to first, you have to locate the element. So you are going to locate the parent element, like this box, from where this box, this drop down option open. So locate this one. So this is the HTML. So we're going to locate this guy, this box. So whatever inside, don't worry. So this is the related HTML code where this box is, it's highlighted, right? You can see, and here is the ID. So if I use the ID, you will see this box will be highlighted. So let's use scroll path. Since it's ID, let's use a number sign, hit enter. So one element matching, you can see this box is highlighted. So that's the things, because this is the parent box, and from there inside it there is some option. Okay, so we're going to use this guy, we're going to use, you know, this guy as our locator, or object locator. Okay, excuse me. So this is our locator. And also if you notice that this is very standard web development process. When they, you know, create a static drop down, you know, you will see they use the tag name which is called select. You know, you can check other websites where they have the like similar type of a static drop down. You will see most of the times they use select tag. So this is the standard format to, you know, build a web front-end website. So using the HTML select tag from the HTML to create the, you know, your drop down option. So our Selenium guys, they are saying, okay, we're going to, that's why they create a similar type of class, like same for, we have seen the actions class to do some keyboard and mouse action, using the mouse method, right? That's actions class, and it has some methods like move to element, drag and drop, you know, other stuffs. Similarly for static drop down, you know, Selenium, we have an inbuilt class, is called select class, by the same name, the tag name we have, you know, when they create the static drop down, like select. This is to remember. So static drop down, you know, started with the select method, select tag, and when you are going to spy, you are going to do the automate for the static, you are going to also use the same name. A class is the same name like your tag name, like select class. So because inside the select class there is some options, there is some method. Those method help you to select any one of the drop down option, the static drop down option. So inside the select class, you know, they have an option select by value, select by, you can see all the options, those are the related code for the all the, you know, insided option. You can see options, and then this is the tag. Let's open this one. Let's open this one. So inside the for option, so here is the value tag, I mean the value property or key. So there is and this is the option one is the value of this value key. Okay, and this is the actual text, like Selenium option. Similarly the API, right? So inside the select class they have some method, select by value. If you use you can use select by value to select any one of the option. There is another method is called select by index. So select by index, it follows the, you know, the first one you will consider as a first index. So you can pass the index number. If you want to select APM, you can pass the index number. It's this, the index number 0, then this is the next is index number 1, the next is 2. So if you want to select APM, you can pass select by index, inside the bracket you can pass number 2. So that's another option. So it has different the method underneath the select class. Select by value, select by index. There is a one more method I forgot. They use select by index value. We'll see when you're going to write the code. It shows. So any one of the method you can use to select any specific drop down option underneath this static drop down. Okay, so that's one way. That's the way you are going to select or automate your static drop down. Let's go back to our practice. Excuse me. So let's over here we're going to create new class. So let's give a name. We'll say drop down test. Okay. And here I'll just copy from our previous the code. It's the same code. This system.set property, your key and the value of your driver, then your web driver interface and Chrome driver relationship. So you guys already know about it, so I don't want to spend time to explain it. And including maximize window, delete cookies, and implicitly wait. Let's keep it 5 seconds. And let's put our website, our URL. This is our URL. So change it here, driver.get. Okay, so this is our URL. So it will land to the direct that practice page. Now let's do it our this spy this locator first. Since it's as I said, we have to find out. So let's use this one as a ID to locate this box, the static drop down box. Okay, let's say driver.findElement by dot. If you want to use ID XPath, it's up to you. You can make a XPath, you can make an ID. So let's make it ID, just simply since it has an ID, to keep it simple. This is the value of the ID, right? And then, or if you want to use CSS selector, you can do it. It's up to you. Whatever the locator you want to use. Okay, and then I would say that's fine. ID. Let's put this one in a variable. So I mean, in your code, you can use direct this locator. But why I use the variable? Because it's easy if you want to use this same variable multiple different places. So every time you have to write this whole line. It's kind of like big line. Other than if you put in a variable, it's easy. You can just put the variable. It's less line, and also it's less looks much clear. So let's give a variable name. I would say static drop down. Whatever the name you gave, it's up to you. Static drop. And what would be your return type? Because you assign some element to this variable, your return type would be web element, because it is a the element type of element is a element of your websites, right? So this is the locator is just locate an web element, web object. So that's why its return type is web element. So web element also another inbuilt Selenium. The API, it comes from Selenium. It can understand this web element is not a standard programming return type. It is specifically for automation. It's specifically for Selenium, and its inbuilt comes with the Selenium API. So you have to, so it has the this web element is already, it comes with the Selenium jar file. So you have to import the related package. So you can see import web element. Okay, so your related packages comes over here. So you can now, this is the variable what is holding the your locator, the web element from the drop down. Now since it's a static drop down, as I said, we're going to use in Selenium they have a class, it's called select class, so let's create an object of select class. Okay, so how to create an object? New, and type class. Its class is started always is uppercase, so select, right, and then put in a object reference or variable. Say since it's a class name select, let's put the variable name s, and then your return type is the same class name, right? Makes sense? And then hover your mouse, you have to import the related package, right? Because we're using a inbuilt some class which is comes from Selenium API. So again you have to import the related package. You can see import select, it's found over here, right? So you import it. So related packages comes over here already. This is the real, still there is a error over here. So what's the error? It's saying it's expecting, this class expecting some argument which is inside, it's expecting an web element. You can see inside even select, inside the bracket it said web element. It means it's expecting an element. Means wherever you are going to use this select class, related method with the select class, when you call this select class you have to pass the element where you are going to apply this class. Use this class use the method from this class where you are going to apply. So definitely you are going to apply some on element, so it's expect over here the that's why I said web element. So let's pass our web element from here. So this is our web element, right, where we're going to apply this select class. Here we go, error is gone. Okay, so now let's see. Now this s is the object reference. It means it has the knowledge about this select class. It means all the methods related to the select class. Let's see if you want to use any, what other methods inside s dot. Now you can see all the different methods. It's coming from select class, right? So deselect all, deselect by index. There's a lots of methods. Here is our related method we're going to use to select any drop down static option. Here select by over here, select by index. So you can pass index number. There's a select by value. So if you have a value property for that specific drop down option, that time you can use select by value. Even select by visible text, you can use even text. If there is a text on that drop down element, you can use select by text, this option, and pass the text. Okay, it's up to you. So example, we're going to use select by value because we have seen, I've seen that we have the whatever the the option, the drop down option, each and every option we have a value property. So we can use, if you don't have the value property you can't use, then you have to find something else. What else? There is a text, select by visible text, you can use, that time you can pass this text. Or if there's nothing, you can use select by index. So you can assume that this, the first one is index 0, second one index 2, third one index 3. So since we have a value, we can use value. So if I want to select Selenium, so this is the one. So what is the the value of the value property? So this value is now is a key, is now properties, it's an attribute, and its value is option 1 for this Selenium. So if we want to select by value, you have to pass the the value of this value property. Guys, are you following, right? So copy the option 1, go up there. So let's pass it over here. So argument as argument, select by, we said a select by value, right? And then pass the value. So for Selenium, if we say assume that we want to select Selenium. Okay, let's say select Selenium option. Okay, so this is the code for select Selenium option. And after that, how you are going to confirm that it was selected Selenium? You have to confirm that too, right? Maybe it shows everything, but when you select Selenium but it didn't select Selenium, how you confirm that? So that time so what's really happened when you select any one of the option from the drop down. So that so we use the select by value. Okay, as I said, we can use select by index, whatever is, select by visible text, or the the index. It's up to you. You can use index, then you can give a index number 1 if you want to select the first one. If you want to select second one, it's up to you. Okay, so we select by value. So now next is how you are going to confirm. So to confirm what's really happen when we select where is the application? What's really happen when you select any drop down option? So after you select, you can, how you gonna confirm? You can confirm by if the same option is visible, right? If it's a visible, or if it's a displaying. If after we select the Selenium, if it's not displaying over here, we can confirm it was not selected. And if it's the displaying, the same, the Selenium, the option we selected, if it's display, we can see it, and we can say yes, it was selected. So that's how we can confirm. So same thing, the same confirmation, we can do it automate to the Selenium. The Selenium, it has a one method. It's called isDisplayed method. The method name is started with the is displayed. So isDisplayed method, it's work before if you want to confirm if any element after you select, after you click it, and if you want to confirm is that element is displaying, whether it's displaying or not. To get the answer yes or no, or true or false, we use isDisplayed method. IsDisplayed method just will return, is a Boolean method. It's return true if the the element before you use isDisplay method, whatever the element you did something, and if that element is selected, it's visible, I would say. If it's displaying, that time it will return you true. If that element is not visible, or that time it will return you false, which is like yes or no. So that's the isDisplay method can help us to determine, to confirm that previously, just right before this method, you did some action on an element, and that element is displaying or not. That's what it will tell. If it's a return you true, you can assume that it is displaying. If it's a return false, you can assume that it is not displaying. So there is a to confirm any elements action, like from the drop down and some other options. So there is a 3 different methods available in Selenium. isDisplayed method, like that can ensure your drop down option. isEnable method. It's a help, it's a confirm is that element is activated, or sometimes you have some terms and condition, and then you have some agreement. Okay, you have some agreement that you accept, that is accept, right? You have an agreement with a checkbox, like you have to check off that you accept this terms and condition. The checkbox, like the element for the checkbox, that element will be activated after you click, after you check off or sign off that checkbox. So that element, the checkbox element, is inactive until you click up there, until you sign off that. So to define, to confirm that element, is that a activate element or deactivate element, that to confirm that, you can use is activated, is enable that method. So similarly, is displayed method, and there is I believe there is another method that's help you to confirm. So is display, is enable, and there was another is there was another one more method. But anyways, when we'll face come across that kind of scenario, I will explain you. But for now, for the drop down, we use is displayed method. But is displayed method, this kind of method always is going to be used right after you perform some action on a drop down element. Then if its return is true, it means that the previous statement, it means this statement was working as is expected. So how we can use is display method over here? So simply we'll say same, where do we want to apply is display method, on same variable, same locator, the same locator, because this is the only one locator, the parent locator. Inside this locator all the drop down option, since we are not able to define all this child drop down options, so this is the only the locator. It's we have to go through this locator and do all other option action, like we want to select whatever the option. So similarly, if I want to use after this, so this is the this is the code. It's able to supposed to select the option 1 following the value key, which is the Selenium option. Now if we want to confirm that is the Selenium was displayed, to confirm that we can use is displayed method. How we can use? First of all, we have to give, when you use any action, that before you use action you have to pass the locator where you want to apply that is displayed method. So what's the locator? The locator is our parent locator. This is the only one locator. Okay, so let's pass this locator here, and then here we're going to say is displayed is. You can say, oh, here is a three method I was talking about. Is displayed, all at Boolean method, is displayed, is enabled, is selected method. Okay, so we can, for the drop down, all we can say it's displayed. Is selected method more is applicable like a radio button. Is enable method is more is applicable, as I said, you have some web element which is by default probably inactive, it's not enabled, but you have to do some action to make it active. So that time you can, after you do the action, you can use is enable method to confirm that this element got activated, is enabled now. Similarly, the display, the element which is can prove by displaying, by visibility that time, so like a drop down option. So we are going to use is displayed method, and it all three are Boolean. It means this method will only return you true or false. So if this statement it's working as is expected, it's supposed to say return you true. If it's return you true, it means this by this method it found this option 1 and it was selected. If it's return false, it means this statement was not working as we expected it. Okay, so since this is displayed method return true or false, how you are going to know true or false? It will show on our console. So let's put this answer, like this will create the true or false return. But if you want to see it, you have to give the print statement. So put this whole statement in a printing printing our statement. So sysout system.out.println, and then over here let's put this command inside, give the closing bracket and then close it. Okay, so whatever it's returned by this statement, true or false, it will print in our console. So we can see, we can understand. If it's true, we know that it was working, it was selected. If it's not true, then it didn't work. Okay, let's save it and then run it. Okay, let's launch the page. Here we go. You see the static drop-down example is already changed to Selenium. So we can see that by our visualization it was selected to Selenium. But if, and also, so it's supposed to return true. You can see also our in our console it's returning true by this statement. So it means it was selected. So we proved both way. But in real life you are not going to see all the answer. After you first time you code it, when you are scheduled to run your script 2 o'clock in the morning, you're not going to see in front of your computer to see if everything's working or fine or not. You will write your code, and also you write extra another line of code to prove it. And then and in the morning you will see the just outcome. By the outcome you can see easily it was selected or not, it was that pass the test cases or not. Okay, so those kind of method is going to use is going to use to help you to define it was working or not. Okay, so that's the use case of static dropdown, and that's the way we're going to do the automate in Selenium for a static dropdown. So select any option from the static.
Sir, is there any way to see which text is being selected in the dropdown? Like, is there any way to print out like which text
Yeah,
is selected?
yes. So if you want so from here it's selected that one. Let's see if we want to use s dot select. How about we put this whole thing in a system.out.println.
This a void one. It's a void method.
It's a void method.
Yeah, it's returning nothing.
Okay, and so it should be okay. Let's put as that select select by value visible string value. Oh, okay, so let's, this is also
All those are void methods.
okay. If I want let's run it. Okay, let it done. Okay, it's found all of them because this is the parent one. It's print all of them. That makes sense. Okay. Let me try again. Still, I want to try this.
Yeah, sure.
Print ln. Are going to match print ln, change to print. Oh yes. So, Okay, is displayed is, let me see what else method we have. First selected notify to a string. Wait, method. I thought this was the more close one. Visible text.
ToString, I think, is converting to string.
Yeah, yeah. This one was more close to one. The select by visible text, but it's still it's a void tab, and this is not the one. It just will convert to a string if you have a different type. If you there, hold on, if I use this one, then convert to a string, puts in a string, maybe this will work. So twice.
Then you can use this thing in the sprint.
Then it will string. No, usually this one is to string is used to convert any numerical value. If because this is if you use just, but let's see. Hold on, that time the probably I can use this guy. This one, let's see. Remove the argument to match. Okay, to convert, okay, this one, select my value, convert it to a string, and then if I want to, I'm not sure this out, let me see. Since previously we used that guy, maybe it will convert to a string since it's returned a void. And then print it. Okay, select a Selenium. No, so it's very interesting. Okay, and no, that's not work. If okay, hold on. What we can do if is this equals to get text, select by maybe no, it doesn't work. This one, okay. Is there any other method that works with this? No, there's no chaining method. Equals dot ignore equals to. I don't think so this will work, because that's why, you know, for this they use specifically, they build this specifically, those is display method that works with the drop down option, just to confirm that it was this your previous line, it's what's selected the word. So if this line doesn't execute properly, this will not return you what is that other one. the is displayed method will not return you. No, it is displayed. Sorry, let's comment. Is displayed. It will not return you. It will not return you true. That's why they added this method so that yes, this is not going to able to extract any text. It makes sense because you know individually we're not able to locate this any element, the drop down option. We're always locating the drop down option from through this their parent locator. So
Sorry,
mhm,
sorry for the interruption. I think I found a way.
what's
Like,
that?
let me share with you. The select has a what is called?
The select class.
Yeah, select that object as dot like get select by what is called?
Select by
Get first selected option.
get all selected option. No,
No, after that,
the get
after
class,
that, after that one.
the
Yes.
first selected option.
Yeah.
Get first selected option.
Yes.
Okay, so we'll
And
return
then the
element.
get text from that
Yes, maybe. Okay, let's.
dot get text.
Yes, as that selected option. So whatever the selected option, that makes sense.
Get
Maybe
text.
maybe that way. Get
Yeah, the last
text.
one.
Yeah, get text. Let's put in a. That should work. Yeah, it looks sounds like makes sense. Not yeah, I mean this is our inbuilt method, not using like the simply we were thinking to use get text method with the display or from here, because from here it is the parent, so it has all the. So this is maybe will work. Let me see.
Yeah, because we already passed that locator to the select object, right? So
Yeah, yeah, and
it
this is
contains all
looks
the
like
information.
yeah, this is looks like we'll able to detect or narrow down this specific selection, and it is a return the wave element. So it looks like, let's see, it should work since it's a return wave element, not the void. Selenium, good. Close it. Yes. Yeah, very good. Yeah, so that's the method. So it's a it's a lots of method they use in every class. I mean, probably there is a few more. There's a lot of other methods. Definitely, there's a lots of other methods that we don't use very frequently. But yes, this is the one option. I think there is a lot of other methods. Wrapper is a different. Multiple is a boolean. Okay, select by wait. There is a wait. It's just to have the wait too long. Okay, yeah. So I think so. This is a good option. But otherwise, individually, there is no way we can extract the text from that specific element because we're not able to locate that specific element individually, right? Other than the parent. So this is yes, a select first selected option. So whatever you this one, it will grab that element, you know. So this is a specific inbuilt method, and then the text and its return wave element. So since the return wave element, so you can easily get the text from that element and you can print it. Yeah. So that time maybe you can do some assertion. I mean, easy. This mostly most frequently what they use in the real life they use is display method with this, but you know you can use maybe now if condition even if since you are able to so maybe you can put this one in a variable. Copy, put this one in a variable, say Selenium.
I think it will be text, Sharif, like because it's returning the text, right? So string class.
Oh, sorry, it's returning the text. So yes, since it's where the getting text, yes, it's a string. We're comparing a string. Why it's there's
So one less bracket. Yeah.
so let's remove, if you can put this one just for the print. And then you can say Selenium if Selenium dot equals, it's equals ignore case. Maybe you say, whatever the string you want to another. So if you're just gonna ensure that you want to use you're selected whatever it's get the selected, and you want to confirm that it was Selenium, then maybe you can say, even though the assertion doesn't work, I mean there is no wrong to use the if to do the assertion to confirm, to validate, like but you can do this way. Then you can say if this is you can say sys out, then you can say uh, pass, right? You can do that one. Oh, sorry, come on. Or you can say else, but we'll learn the assertion different way later on. Just for now, you can see.
I mean, like, is there? You mean like there is some built-in method for that?
Yes.
Oh, okay.
Fail, right? So you can do for now. This is the. I mean, to get the text, that's one of the reason to do the assertion. The assertion is like validation, right? So you are doing the validate. At the end, you not only automate. At the end, you confirm that what you did the automate, it was expected, is matching with your expectation. Because the automation is nothing, exactly the same thing we do in manual, we have to do the same thing in automation. So in a manual, we write the statement to do this action. So those are the action, right? This is the action, like you drop down or those are and select Selenium, those are the action. But at the end, for manual, we also do some assertion. Assertion is like we confirm that the output result is matches with our expected result. So if expected and your actual result is match, we say pass. The same thing we'll do in automation. So this is one way, but in Selenium they have inbuilt method for assertion, which is called soft assertion, hard assertion. We'll learn later on. Okay, we'll have a separate class. But for now, if you can extract any object, any text from an web element, you can do some assertion, something like this way. You can just there is no wrong to use them. Nobody will say this is wrong. It's up to you how you do it. But for Selenium, it has a standard process for the assertion by using its inbuilt method. You can say it's pass, right? Because it's match. So this extract equal ignore case, this is another method that's do the equal the comparison between two string. Between two string, you can use equal ignore case method. So this is your actual, this is your expected. So what do you expect? So both will match. If there's a match, it will go inside, do execute this. If it's a fail, it will go there. If you just change over here from Selenium to Selenium 1, you'll say it will fail, because it will not match, right? Because we are expecting Selenium 1, but it's found this Selenium, just a Selenium. So it should return you fail. you can say it's return fail because this didn't match both. Okay, so let's let's move this guy. So this is the static one. Now the more interesting one, it's your the interesting one, it's the dynamic drop down. So dynamic drop down, again, something like this. You will have an input box like a Google search box, then you type something and your result, your output will be suggested as per your request on fly when you type it, when you execute it that time. Okay, it's not a predefined, right? So say example, you type CA, so you want to select the Canada one. So how we can do it? So first of all, it's similar up until, you know, typing anything inside the input box. It's same we did before. So you spy this element, this box, and then you use the send keys method and you pass whatever you want to type, right? So let's see, you have ID, so let's use the ID, and then, you know, to spy that element. So where is this? Is the one. Okay, so I believe here. So now it's dynamic. Dynamic drop down. Dynamic drop down option. Okay, so let's spy that input box, driver.findElement by y dot, say we'll use XPath. Okay, since it's ID, let's use, it makes it CSS selector. So it was ID, right? So since it was ID, so hash sign, this is the CSS selector for this, right? And then let's put this one in a the variable again. I would say dynamic say drop down, the whatever the name you give. So dynamic drop down, say, so web element, right? And after that you wanna type something. So if you want to type in it, this is the input box. If you want to type something, we know this to type something, you know, you pass the locator, and then you say you use send keys, right? Send keys. And what's the send keys? You want to type something CA. You could do this one, the send keys over here, right? Instead of puts in a variable, you could do this, but this is more, you know, better way to code. This is more professional way to code, to break down, not to write too long line. If you have a long line, puts in a variable, use the variable, and easy, it's easy, clear, and it's also easy to use multiple times. If you need to use this variable, this locator few different other places, so you can just use the variable instead of writing this whole line again and again. Okay, this is much matured way to code. Okay, so let's try to get to have it this kind of. So we're typing CA. So here I always recommend, sometimes it's happen, it's because when you type in a box over here, you will probably notice that it takes few seconds to load all the options. It depends on how many results will show. If the list is too long, it will take a little bit, you know, few extra seconds. So it's always better to put some extra, you know, local weight like thread.slips, probably, you know, you can try without it, and if you see it's not able to find it, then you will, you know, remember that it's better to use some thread, because you have to give a chance, a little bit wait period, so that it loads all the list. Now it depends on how big the list. Okay, since we don't know, so it's better to put some wait, even though we have a, you know, if our local weight doesn't work, then use some our global weight doesn't work, then use some local weight. Say assume that, you know, we can try without this. Let's see that how happen, but just I give you as a note. And then, you know, let's now use our where if I say CA, so where is the Canada? This is the first. Again, we're going to use over here our keyboard, so like we learned, the last lecture. So this is the first, this is the second, this is the third, fourth, fifth. Fifth is the is the our Canada option, right? So if we use our keyboard arrow key down, so first, second, third, fourth, fifth, and then hit enter, it's supposed to select this Canada. So we can do exactly the same thing. Now it's easy for us to understand and use our keyboard function, right? The arrow key. So, and now this time we can use, there is no specific class we're using over here. We can simply use the for loop now. Let's use for loop integer I equals to, let's start, it depends on from where you want to. If you want to start from 0, that's fine. Then your condition would be I less than probably what was the 5, right? I would say so here, so where is the position of your Canada is a 5th, right? 0 to 5th, 1 2, yes. So you have to just adjust it. What's the position number? So I less than 5, and then if you want to I plus plus, then here you now what do you want? You want to arrow down. We know this is arrow down is a part of inside the send key. We can pass some keyboard action. Some inside the send keys we can pass some keyboard action. So where is your, so in send keys, where is the element? This is your parent element for this drop down inbox. So still we're going to use the same parent element dot, we use the send keys, we ask to use the send keys method, and here inside we're going to pass the keyboard action, which is the arrow down. So arrow down, the first one will down one step, then second step. So it depends on how many times. That's why we are using a loop. So arrow down keys, right? So it will first time started with the 0, then 0 less than 5, condition true, come inside, it will apply this arrow down in this locator, but because in the meanwhile it's already open all the option by passing this CA, typing the CA inside this box. So it will down do 1, so go, so it will keep continue the loop up until it's a started from 0 to 4. When it's a 5th, it will false the condition, it will jump out over here. So what do you want? The last option when it's select it, you want to hit enter so that it gets final selected. So do the same thing. So now it's easy for us this part to understand. So over here we're going to just pass the enter key, keys dot enter. Where is the enter key? Okay, so that should work. Select our what's called, that's the Canada option, and then same way the way we did selected, we can use is displayed method up there. What selected, we can use. Let's see this one. So this one, oh, that's fine, let's do both together, it's fine, will not take that too long. So first it's supposed to select the Selenium, then you see this. Okay, so it didn't select the Canada, it select Cameroon. So probably the condition, so where is the Cameroon? Oh, okay, it's, so we started 0 1 2 3. Oh, so it should be, I think it's started, so let's add it one more, sorry, here let's put it in 6. So it's in 5th position, right? So let's put in 6. Now should be selected. Let's run again. Selenium. What? It didn't. Did I put more? Canada. Zero, one, 0, 1, 2, 3, 4. So 0 to up 5th. That should select this one. We'll start it from, should work 6. Run. Why is entity selected? 1, 2, 3, 4.
Sorry, it worked for me.
It worked for you? So something
Yeah.
that's weird, right? So it is a 5th, right? It should be 5th. What's your condition? Is it 5th or 6th? 6, right? Yes, then why? That's pretty weird. That's what happens sometimes. Oh, maybe that's why now. Okay, hold on. I got you. I know. So remember that I told you that it's better to put some weight. So after you select, okay, thread dot sleep. You know what happened? Let me add through declaration. Now type it over here. Now try. Did you put that sleep? Any weight?
No, I did not.
Yeah, maybe that's your system is a little bit faster than my one. Definitely, because I'm using.
Mine also works, Sharif, without the thread.
Yeah, I'm explaining you. Let me see this. If it's at 3 seconds is good enough to.
That's weird.
Let's see. Oh, okay, sorry. This time it will work. Okay, so this time works. Now why it didn't work without the threads of slave? As I said just earlier, so when you type something over here in a search box and then your result, this result, it's based on what you type. It means this results, this is the suggestion options. This suggestion is created on fly when you type it. It's not something like predefined over here. It is, the results comes after you type, after you send the request, then it gets the response. And what would be the response? It's create the response on fly. So it takes a little bit time to build, to build that response, the list, and then give it to you. It takes a little bit time to create that algorithm, to work that algorithm. So since we didn't put any weight, so what's really happened? Our driver comes over here and then typo over here, and then right away it jump on the list. So when you have a big list like CA, it's a little bit quite a big list. When you have a big list, it takes a little bit, the more list is longer, it takes a little bit more time to display all the content. So our driver doesn't wait, we didn't set the wait, so it's after it types right away, it's started to look for, it's started to follow the next code, like the loop. And then it's fine. It remember that it selected entity key even though it sets the loop few times, because the time, the driver, the time it gets to complete the loop, by the time it's only display 2 or 3 elements, it didn't display all of them. It didn't come the Canada, it didn't come that up to display the time the driver is working. So if we say the driver, hey driver, wait a little bit, so if we get a little bit time, so that it loaded, it's happened very quick behind the scene. It's hard to see it because it didn't take that too long to see it, like it's loading, but that's what happened. So you have to adjust the synchronization between your driver and between the elements, especially the on-fly element that creates and load on your system. Gets my point? So that's why I told you, I think so that the beginning time I told it, it's better to put some thread or slips. But again, sometimes our global wait is good enough to do this. It's really, since it's always, you have to think about the synchronization when you have some report, when you generate some report, you generate some outcome. It's on fly. On fly, it means it's not predefined. Okay, you based on your input, there will be some output and you have to work on this output. So that time, you have to think about Selenium. It has, that's one of the disadvantages, the synchronization issue. So it works, like in my system it didn't work because the synchronization, which is speed, and it depends on a lot of performance, like the computer you are using, your internet. So a lot of things, maybe your computer is faster than mine or your internet is faster than mine, so it gets loaded much earlier than my system. So that's why it worked his machine, but it didn't work my machine. If you see this, maybe someone else, even the 3 seconds will not work. If your system is more slower than mine, you have to increase this wait then. Okay, so that's
But then I'm just wondering why the range, like for you it was I less than 5, for me it was I less than 6, and then it's picked the correct value.
Did you start I is from the 0 or 1?
0.
You said your one it's a 6, then it works.
And then it works. I tried with 5, but it picked Cameroon. But when I put 6, it picked the Canada.
Okay, maybe then you increase your thread or sleep. Maybe it didn't go that far up to the Canada again. That up to reach at Canada,
That could be a reason, yeah.
to reach at Canada level, it didn't, because its driver is not wait, until you say wait. It will just keep doing, finish this line, go there, finish this line, go there. So if you need to, you have to play with this synchronization. This is one of the disadvantages, or you can say touchy part of Selenium. It's a little bit painful. Sometimes the same script, it works for some machine and sometimes it's not a work for other machine because of the performance, because it's this automation Selenium, it depends on the Selenium driver server, the middleman. That's why nowadays it's Cypress is getting really popular very quickly. Cypress is spreading all over the world because one of the disadvantages. Cypress, it has its own IntelliJ, so that it can automatically create its own weight until the element is appear. So but anyways, but it's still Selenium has been a decade in the market. It's worldwide acceptable, and it's most of the job is still depends on Selenium. This is the demand. Okay.
You're right. I tried with the thread.
Yeah.
And yeah, that's correct. Absolutely.
Yeah.
It
That.
all happened because of the speed.
Yes. And we have to play with this kind of speed, especially just remember, if any output comes, suggestion comes or report comes, when you work with the report, like you do some query, and then based on your query the report will generate, and you have to do some inquiry, some test on that report. This kind of scenario also fall this issue, you will face this synchronization issue, because something that your output is coming is generating on fly your request. It's not predefined. So that time, you have to very careful about the synchronization between your driver and the element you are looking for. Okay, so pretty much that's all today. So these two things I will upload tonight. Do this practice, and besides I will give you one example, similar that homework. It's like this one, the dynamic one, the Google search. So this will be very interesting. It's the same concept, but it's a little bit more smarter. If you understand that part and this, you will be good to go to do any dynamic test. So in Selenium, in a Google search, what's really happen? You type something, say testing job. You can see it's same. It shows number of suggestion, and then you want to select, say example, testing job Toronto. Okay, so you select this one. So how you are going to do this? How you are going to do this? So here one more things. I will give you I will give you the answer. One more thing is that unlike our this over here, we did a hard code the condition here. We did a hard code that our loop depends on loop will run up to 5 times. So what if tomorrow we want to select, this is our test case, we want to select Canada. So in Canada, we know in in 5th position. Okay, so 0 1 2 3 4 5th position if you started from the 0. But what if tomorrow your developer, some reason he changed the Canada the position from here to here, 6th position or 7th position? So our code is still based on, the loop will run up to 5th. So whatever the position is 5th, it will get that one, it will select that one, it will not select Canada. So in ours over here, it's fine as long as they don't change it. But if they change it, so here like our condition is like hard coded. What if we do some way our automate like not to hard code, doesn't matter where the the result, it's a 5th position, 6th position, 7th position, we don't want to depend on the position. We'll run a loop and it will check every single element by our comparison. Okay, it will get the text from this element. Okay, the first one, say, okay, it will get the text from here, first element, and it will extract the text, and it will compare our expected text, say Canada. If it's a match, it will say, okay, hit enter or select or click it, so it will be selected. If it's not, come through the loop. And how long your loop will run, it depends on how many suggestions the option is give you. So if any way we can just get the parent result, like how many, after you type how many result it shows, we can use size method to get the result, the number of options, like 10 option, 5 option, whatever it is. So we're not depending on hard code, like counting, like we're counting 1 2 3 4 5. We're not depending on this. Our loop will run as long as it has the the result from the size method. And then every element, when you drop down the first one, will extract the text from the element and will compare with our expected one, Canada. If it's a match, we'll say select it and use the break key. Remember the break key we use in Java? So break is a keyword is used in your for loop with the if condition. And if you use the break key, if the if condition is true, and it's found the break key, it will jump out from the loop. So you don't have to go through or complete all the loop. You are going to run your loop as long as it's met the condition. I hope you can follow it, right, guys? So I would give you the homework. Please watch the related video. I have it, so I will let me give you that. Let me find the related video. So just watch it and try to do by at home by yourself. I mean, even though you just follow it, copy it, but let's say that if you can understand it and you can do it by your own. Selenium Google search. Okay. So this is the one, I believe. What is the?
Can you give that link to the?
Yeah. Let me give you the link too. So I'm just showing you this. It is available. So go through it, watch it, try to understand it, and then do it. Code it. Let me. I mean, nowadays it's not that but at the beginning of the Selenium, back in 6, 7, 8 years back, it was one of the common question. That is how you gonna do automate Google search. Now, I mean, it really depends on the people, but I don't see that many. Now it's frequently, but it was one of the popular question. So this is the. Let's go to. I'm giving you on Slack. Did they close it? No. So Google's search automation. Okay, so please watch it, and if we'll talk at the beginning if you have any question on the next class, but I hope that you will able to. It's a little bit tricky, I can tell you that. What would be the tricky part would be to I close it. The tricky part would be sorry, when you type it like testing job, to select, to spy the whole thing. Since we're saying we're not dependent on the result, how many results it says, because that's the hard code. Then you have to say 1, 2, 3, 4, which was, so yeah, how many times you have to run your loop. So your condition would be based on how many results. But since the Google, maybe tomorrow they will see this testing job in Toronto or Ontario, this option is not over here, is the option probably over here, or somebody else does the same searching from Bangladesh or from India, you'll see this its results shows the different. Maybe it's a different, the position would be the different, because the result will come based on your circumstance, your area, your domain, from where you're searching. So we can't do it hard code. We can make it fix. Okay, the result comes from 3, but it probably is not the 3 position if you search from USA. So that's called, it's making it dynamic. So your automation would be also dynamic. So the challenging part, it's like to spy. If you can spy the whole result in the whole search box, spy it, and then from there, so it will show you all the results. So in this whole this whole box, it has all the multiple results, it is all the multiple elements. So you are going to use driver.findElements, then whatever the XPath or locator, and then if you use size method, the size will return how many elements you have in this box. So say 10. So this is your condition, how many times you have to run your loop to cover all the elements, so that it's check every elements. It could be your option, the option you're looking for is the last one. So you want to make sure your loop is cover all the elements. So it doesn't matter, you don't know where that elements is, the position, where that position could be, the last, could be the middle, could be the beginning. So you want to confirm it's cover all the elements. So that's why you need to know how many elements it shows. So it doesn't matter, you search from Canada, you search from Bangladesh, from USA, your size method will cover all the elements. And then you use your for loop using your condition like size method, and then you started from the 0, so will be first, and then every time it's locate visit, and it's extract the element so that you can make it comparison. And when it's find it, you jump out. Because when you find it, your desired element, you don't need to finish the rest of the loop because it's done. So you use the break keyword, and it's jump out from your loop. Okay, let's try it. See if you can whether you can do it or not. So that's the URL I give you on our Slack. So you follow that, and let's see that's you can do it or not. Beside the other two we have learned today. Okay, guys. Any question? Anyone? Okay, so I think that's all for today's class, and let's meet on next Saturday.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you. Have a good one.